This is the relationship we have to parasocial relationships and the reflection of it in our personal relationships. First of all, I want to talk about the simplicity. What I've come across is that it's like, to really, really put it in simple terms, we consider ourselves as being the humans, those who experience all the human things, because we are that. And it is easier to digest if we categorize those who we admire or idolize in different lanes than us. Because if we kind of accept that they are just, us in different forms, what is there to idolize then? This is what I wrote when I first came across it, where I felt deep. I was like, what's happening? What's happening? So I was going down this rabbit hole. I want to call this section, "Are you familiar with this experience?" I was going down this rabbit hole of going through. You go on a show, you're watching a show, you're watching a new media, whatever. You come across a person that you really like, whether it be from their skills, their acting, maybe they're like a good director who made this movie. So I went to their Instagram. You go to their Instagram, and I went through some of the photos they took or whatever, or what they post, or so silly, but in combination with the show and their skills, as well as some interviews that you see that they're just so artful in the way that they articulate themselves, in the way that they present, and I discovered, and like without much effort, I convinced myself of the type of life they live. Imagine, okay, this is like, I don't know, say someone in their like 40s or whatever, or even in their 20s. Their whole life I'm able to condense in my head. And I understand that we're not really able to really grasp everyone in terms of how long they live or the amount of experiences that they have. That's just not possible. But to condense them to this small narration, I was convinced of it too, you know what I mean? It's not something that I'm like, I know it's illogical, but this is what I have. These are the informations I have of them, and this is the image that formed. I was truly kind of convinced of it, and it didn't really matter that this was not how things worked. It's just easier to separate the people from what you consider yourself to be. Because I know that whatever I post, whatever type of content I put out, whatever type of personality that I reflect in certain settings, that doesn't define who I am or the experiences that I've had completely. Like probably not even like 5%. And yet I don't want that to be the same standard I put onto these people. So let me finish my story. So I'm not saying that it all depends on what people's preferences is and what type of image that they want to create when they see and consume these things. But for me, it wasn't even that. I was looking at this as like a glamorous type of lifestyle. But we tend as a society to also glamorize pain and suffering. It almost feeds into that image that we create of them. Again, all is bad. But it's not just, oh, they're perfect, they can do no wrong. But it is that leeway of giving them some type of aspect of it where they can share similar experiences that to us, but their narrative of it is different, so it doesn't linger in in the pain, it doesn't linger in the suffering, but they come out of it. It helped them develop character. I wasn't imagining it to be all glamorous, but it's, in my head, it was purposeful. And I saw someone confident, expressive, someone who does not shy away from who they are, someone who pursues their someone with many talents, and skills. And I was like, obviously that means they are a hard worker. Now tell me which of these are actual facts that were spoken. None. All of these are interpretations, and some of them are like second-hand interpretations from the first interpretation. So I'm like, oh yeah, they have many skills. Oh, talented. What does that mean? Oh, hard worker. They probably like went through things. They probably don't give up. You don't know that. So eventually, as I was also doing before, I started filling the blanks of parts of their lives that's not even hinted about, right? So this is more focused on the career and their build up to the role that they were in at the time. Eventually, I'm thinking about something completely unrelated on how they handle their how they balance their life, how they balance their work life, and also personal relationships, how they treat themselves. It's weird, but it's like this, it's not something that I was thinking about and consciously building or writing on, but it's something that is easy to assume and to really feed that whatever you had crafted before on who they were, what they were. It wasn't conscious because, again, all of this is happening through like a few scrolls of their posts. And already I had so much information that I wasn't given, but that I willingly took the part to fill and kind of paint as a fact for myself. And where does that lead us? It leads us to comparison. It leads us to, obviously, you've separated them so much from you, and now it's become a thing where you're just simply human, and that feels inadequate. Kind of a way for us to feel bad about ourselves. It's almost like we're seeking it. So immediately I swear I felt this. I had a flash of what my day was like before, what my day was like on the same event, right? So say I was scrolling on the Instagram on the night of a day, and I thought back to what I had done that afternoon, that morning, and I found myself like with this specific flash of me in my like driving test, and that was my worry, where I was trying to pass my driving test, and it just felt so small, had an impact on me, but it just felt so small. It's not the driving exactly, it's just these little small moments we have as humans. All of a sudden they just feel not good enough, like shameful even. It's because I was comparing to this otherness that I had built in my head of this person who is actually a human. Hard to imagine that they would also feel this smallness. And the compartment that I've like placed them in is filled with very few and yet qualities with bigness. So all of the big moments with quality, romanticized, idealized traits. That's where they are in. So everything else, things that I would experience, it just doesn't seem likely, and it's also just not easy for me to comprehend that, my fault. That's my fault, I know. So I separated them from the nature that we share and use this like curated display of life, or the made up parts that I filled in to basically to use them as a tool to shrink myself. Not exclusive to parasocial relationships. That's just like the recent experience that I've had, but it applies to a lot of people. It's a lot of dynamics. Even in like close relationships, you find yourself idolizing someone else. You don't really love them because of you don't really love them. You don't love them for who they are. You love them for what they did for you. Okay. Or you love them because of the appearance that they're able to keep. So what are the common symptoms? Let's talk about it. It's commonly joked about, but I believe we must call it to attention. But you know how people say, whenever we're talking about celebrities, especially celebrities, there's this like notion that they don't shit. And when people bring up that they do shit, people are like, oh, I don't want to think about that. Like, I don't want to really think that person like shits. I believe this is also commonly practiced in romantic relationships where they don't want to see that. They don't want to think about that. Again, but I feel that it's more common in the parasocial world. So I think that this is a big symptom. I would recommend that, like, with everyone that you meet, I feel like you should just set aside some time, have a coffee date or something, and then close your eyes and just imagine each other shitting. It's really going to break the ice. It's really going to connect you as human beings to each other, and you're going to feel much better, because now, what is there to lose? There's nothing unexpected now, but practice safely, do it safely. Maybe like talk about what type of position you'd like each other to be seeing each other in. Maybe talk about like the way that you do it, so that it's like a little bit more easier for them to actually imagine the reality. Because again, like, people shit different ways, so I think this is a very important distinction to make. Have a lengthy conversation. Give them materials for their little imagination session. Ooh, that kind of rhymed. You trust me. I've done it. I haven't, but if my friends are watching, but in a serious note though, like, if you are repulsed by that, you don't have to imagine it, but like, just believe the notion that it's not just shitting, but that's a metaphor for like any little human things that we consider to be small or too human. People go out and they trip on a rock. People get sick and they're intensely coughing once in a while. With this like shitting analogy, if you are repulsed by that and you're unable to continue the image you've built of someone, especially in parasocial relations, like, if you can't think of them as people who shit, and the thing is, they make it easy too, because they don't really announce a lot of these human things to the world. It's very curated, right? It's meant to be short. It's just meant to be very productive and the way that they display things. So they're not going to show you the tiny little fillers a lot of the times. If you're unable to continue and sustain that image you've built for them because, like shitting doesn't fit with it, then what does that mean? You must ask yourself, what else are you blocking from your perception that hint at them being a human, just as you are, of you both experiencing, or whoever experiencing the same experiences that you do, just by being human. I feel like I've been using the word human so much lately. I'm tired. So after this video, it's gonna be about like other things. I'm tired of human beings. Okay, so this will obviously reflect on how we treat our relationships. And how does that occur? I feel we've already kind of covered some of the aspects, but we will go into it. I think the times that we're at right now, and this is a conversation that's been had as well, therapy talk, right? Yeah, it's like there's very standard things that have been said that most people have accepted, and people who want to like divert from that, it's a little hard to do. For example, avoidance. That is very not like, you can't just, what if you just want to avoid? What if you just want to be an avoidant person? But no, because of the word and the meanings that it carries, and I'm pretty sure it is like a technical term, but someone could be avoiding something and people are going to be like, don't be avoidant. Don't be avoidant. Deal with the things head on. And all these therapy talks, people are just, there's like a way to fix you. Basically, the point is that because of the times, and especially generations that have been born into it, and or their formative years have been very much exposed to this. Social media is prominent. A lot of discussions and connections we have with each other is through social media, and how we share our ideas, common ground that we get to, how we build communities. It's through online connections. Our formative years especially, that's where we kind of navigate and see how we can healthily, okay, maybe not, I don't know, whatever your taste is. If you want to be toxic, be toxic, but I didn't say it. Okay, whatever, okay, man, like if you're both toxic and you like being that, then I mean, okay, maybe don't, I don't know. Leave me alone, it's not what I'm talking about. So if you want to build, if you want to show, if you want to learn how to interact with your fellow human beings and the different traits and personalities that we have, and how we can just connect, just kind of like live with each other. It's different, it's much different now. So it's easier to consume this moral compass that has so strictly been set. So it's very hard to navigate the nuance in human relationships. I think a lot of it comes down to the relationships we have, as I've said, the connections we have with humans, and how we get to know them is through this very curated way, and it's much harder to navigate that nuance. I mean, we can take that as like cancel culture, man. People are they're unable to take mistakes. Very strong response, right? How, if cancel culture is such a strong response and a very accepted one as well, I think there's retaliation now, but at one point it was very, very, I feel like still it's kind of widely accepted. If that is something that is shaping our culture, how is it that we wouldn't reflect that in our personal relationships? People, obviously, I'm not saying that all of them are unjustified or whatever. Ideas that are attached to them, if you cancel you're this like good person with good morale, at the very least what we could do is have more information before we make such rushed and like intense judgments on people. But that's what we do now with our personal relationships with people on social media. They come out and they talk about their relationships, romantic ones usually, and the immediate response is, oh, do this, oh girl, don't accept him. Oh girl, that's a bare minimum. I understand, these are buzzwords, they're fun to say, whatever. With people with online presence, right, this is not like there's not like one thread linking the acceptability of them to the general public's gaze. It's not that they share any common traits, but they do attract groupings of, different preferences. More exposure, there's more attention, good attention and response. They've been placed in this particular niche of, the traits of combination. So when you think of them, that's how you think of them. Don't you see people like wearing, anyway, there's like consistency to it, this specific demand. Oh, so this person has been liked and is getting a good response for this, and this. And so it's much easier for them to become and follow along and comply with the image of them that have been planted. So the public is like, okay, there's like a set thing going on. It's not for the creativity or something unique that's being offered. It's just that, it's just predictability. And people love feeling like they know someone from the way that they have been characterized. It's different from who they are, which is, human. So they are like all over the place. So they are more polished, they're more curated. So can you even imagine that when the public, in addition with, the people who are, getting business out of this, that they've maneuvered that image well. So then in our personal relationships, when we see that this is an impossible thing to do, to reflect that onto someone, and we attach the fault onto the other person for being inconsistent, for not following through, for having different modes and emotions, for shitting, because now we can't control them in the way that we are used to controlling. Well, it's a more of a mutual agreement, but like an unsaid thing of like, ooh, we like this. It's where you feel comfortable getting to know these people, because there's a set rule and expectation and the way that you can maneuver and change. There's predictability. There's not a lot of things that you need. Anyway, it's anti-human, and this is gonna be, I think, my last video on anti-human behavior for quite some time. Okay, bye.